Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And let's talk about this premiere episode of The Challenge USA.
USA. USA. Can you believe it? I'm watching The Challenge.
This girl's watching The Challenge.
Loving it. All right. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Also, please. Yeah, I can't believe that not only am I watching The Challenge, but it got me from like the jump. Like first scene, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm here for this. Okay, let's go.
So this is what I love about The Challenge, right?
Okay.
So I know that you hadn't gotten into this old season, so
Yes.
you weren't able to really maybe connect with the newer seasons. And I agree, like the newer seasons for me aren't great, but I'm such a loyal fan that like I still watch the show and it still is one of my favorite shows. But the feeling that you had when you watched this episode where everybody was kind of new, but the format is good, that it forces people to play and you see the relationships and like it just allows for just so many interesting things to happen. And we're familiar with every single person on the show. So you're like, how are they going to react to that? How are they going to react to that? Like, it's just so stimulus that like, it's very entertaining. And I thought this was an excellent premiere episode, have to say.
Okay, good. Well, you're here to tell me how it usually goes, what's new, what's different. It is so helpful that we know all these people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's another really good thing with the challenge is that we kind of like in the past anyways, we used to know everybody. So the concept of the original show on MTV was the real world versus road ruled, and they would compete against each other. Yeah. So that was the challenge. And then it just became the challenge in like 1999, where it was just like people from those shows going and competing with different kind of formats and twists and different game strategies for each season. Yes. So it's kind of like we're going back there where it's like everybody's from a show, but they're new to the challenge. And that's why it's, for me, it's kind of like nostalgic because nobody knows exactly how to play this game yet, but we've seen them play other games before. So it's fun.
I actually watched when it was just called Real World versus Road Rules.
Probably
like I watched
2000.
that first or season or two because I watched Real World. I didn't really watch Road Rules very much.
So you're a Real World. I watched them both, but
yeah,
I even tried to audition even though I was in Canada. I sent like my whole application was in a lunchbox that had like all these different maps and stuff like that on it, and then I had like inside like every single like a little trinket was like my application. So like about me's was like little trinkets that was in this little lunchbox. I didn't even get a call, but I thought it was a very good application.
That is very original. Love the idea.
Like with like a VHS tape.
Oh my God. Remember those days? What are you talking about? We're not that old. What? Okay. Well, let's go to Argentina. We've got a bus full of people headed there. TJ's going to come out. He's going to set us up and tell us that everyone's going to get $1,000 seed money. You need $5,000 to get to the final. You can get the money by winning a challenge or win an elimination. Those are the ways that we can make money. Is this a normal setup?
It can be. It's definitely, they changed those types of formats all the time. Sometimes like in the past, in the old days, sometimes if you win the daily challenge, you would get a prize like a dirt bike or a projector or tickets to like a hockey game. Like they used to have prizes for winning daily. Sometimes it was money as well. That hasn't been as prevalent in the last few seasons, but it is something, a format of the past that they would have. And buying into the final or qualifying for the final, that's a little bit of a newer game mechanic, but it's still familiar. So they're both things that we've seen before in the challenge.
Okay. We get little sound bites, starting just to like see people, and I love analyzing who they show us here at the top. What some highlights here from me that Alyssa and DX want revenge against the
revenge. I know you'd be eating that up. I was eating it up as well, especially when you get the other soundbite from actually, I think it was in his confessional from Xavier being like, "I trust Alyssa completely. She's the only person that I trust 100%."
I was like, oh, gee, we're right back to last summer where Xavier thinks Alyssa is like the goddess and the only thing he can see.
Now, didn't they sort of date, or was that just like a rumor? Like,
I don't think. No, Alyssa was like, haha, no, thank you.
I thought after the season something happened, but I don't know.
James, do you know? Hi, James.
Hi, James.
I don't know.
James, we gave James on my channel MVP of the episode.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And as you should. He is absolutely the MVP, showing us how it's done. Strategic. Thank you very much. Let's see. Cashel and Kira are exes. Okay, I was not prepared for actual exes on this show.
Oh.
Whoops, I missed that. So we have 2 sets of exes, which of course, I guess if you're going to put Love Island people on a show, you have to put the exes on.
How you win the show is to be in a couple at the end of the season. Now, if I remember correctly, with Cashel and Kira, they didn't leave the show together, but before they both went home, I think Cashel came back, or they end up seeing each other, and then they decide to start dating. So I wasn't really a fan of them as a couple when they were on the show together, and they don't have enough banter for me to care about them like now. So I'm not on them or off them. I just indifferent, which is probably worse.
Well, I mean, it's just always awkward to be around an ex, especially when you've got cameras in your face. But Cinco and Cash
I don't know all the tea there yet. Because I thought that they had an amicable breakup, but it's seeming like they may not have, which was
hi. There we are.
Sometimes it's been doing that or whatever. Okay, sorry.
We'll finish that thought. You don't know if it's it sounded fresh.
Yeah,
like they had just broken up
when it happened. From like her, Instagram, like, sorry, me and Cinco went our separate ways. It seems like it was a mutual breakup and like nothing interfered, just maybe space and time. It was just like not working out. But it's seeming now, though, with him not wanting to see her and her being like, it's so fresh. I'm like, maybe more went on. And I'm hearing through the grapevine that maybe more did happen. So I will investigate for next week.
Interesting. Okay. Well, then we hear from James, which my first thought was, y'all took way too long to put James on my television screen. But when they finally did, he was like already in the game, talking about 3 Amazing Race players can infiltrate any group, like scoping out the territory.
Well, I love when anybody, especially James in this episode, looks and sees where they are positioned in the game and are already figuring out ways to like change their position or make alliances or what's going on, who's being grouped together. And that was happening with a lot of people, which is also was really exciting, seeing how many people were noticing who's really strong. Like Shan was another person. I don't know if it was early in the episode. I can't remember where it was, but she was saying, she's like, I want Angela and Sarah up against each other. I'm like, you could see that already? I'm like, yes, I love that people were just ready to play right from the get-go.
Right. Yes. Then we get a little information about Sally and Justine, our besties. And then I learned that say that again.
They call themselves Celine.
Oh, Celine. Oh, love it. Perfect. And then Justine is a Love Island winner, which, is just hard for me to remember. I'm learning so much about Love Island here. Okay.
Right.
Then we see Shannon. Sweet, sweet Shannon. Just going to set us up here for a little storyline. She's emotional. She's worried about the physical part.
Pisces. Just throw that out there.
Oh, is she? Yes, of course she was emotional there. Okay.
Yes. So I was thinking though, so Shannon has a similar background to Angela. So I was really hoping that she would be super strong. She was like, I believe she's a cheerleader or a power tumbler. Like she does gymnastics. I think she said like, one of her traits that she could do is like she could walk on her hands for a really long time. Like she has some good physicality. So I was really surprised that she was so shaken up by the fact that like strategy and people talking was going on. Like I was just like, I thought that you were harder than this. Like I was very surprised that she was rattled so easily.
Yeah. Well, she's a water sign. She could be just overwhelmed at first. Lots of energy coming out of sweet little Pisces. All right. Well, let's get paired up, y'all, because he's like, hey, pick a pair.
That happens sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. It didn't sound like this was a thing people were necessarily prepared for. Like it wasn't a given, right?
Right. No, it wasn't a given. Sometimes we've seen them do a challenge, and depending on the order that you finish a challenge, you can choose your partner. We've just seen many different ways to choose a partner. Sometimes it's been teams in the past. Like they had no idea how this phase of the competition was going to go. But partners has happened where you choose your own partner. That's not unusual at all.
Okay. Well, there's just a mismatch of things happening now. I really love to see Tyson just like yelling Angela's name. Like clearly he had thought about this and was not going to let her walk away. He snags her real quick and she seems to like go along with it. Sure, why not?
I was obsessed with that partnership because on one of my drafts, they were my first two. They were my first guy pick, my first girl pick. I was like, they were number one on my want list. Absolutely. And I was happy that they were going to be partnered together. And I was assuming that they would be together for most of the season and then maybe running the.
Wait, you keep going in and out.
I can see what it
There we go.
But it just like, I think that the wire must be like, hey,
yeah,
I'm going to die now. I need a new wire.
A new wire.
Sorry that it's being finicky, but I do notice when it goes out.
Yeah, I like Tyson and Angela is a solid pair. Like
so solid.
I overall really loved Angela in this episode and just feeling the vibe of the show feels like such a better fit for her. And of course I love Tyson, so hello.
I love also learning that she got into stunts. I'm like,
oh yeah,
that's cool. That's good. That's useful for this show. Stunts.
Yeah. She's a bad arse. She is she's fit for sure. Kayla and David, and this was like, Kayla, why? No, Kayla, why? I would like more intel on that. What happened there?
Probably just who you're standing beside and you just don't know anybody.
Like,
and
hi, I don't know how to handle this. This is an awkward situation.
Maybe she was thinking he's big brother, so maybe I'll be protected a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. That's not a bad plan at all. Find any Big Brother or Survivor player. Ben and Alyssa, Xavier and Tasha. Hello, Tasha. I love you, Tasha. Kylan and Azza. First off, I was like, Azza, no! I'm still traumatized by the night that she sat in his HOH room. Like, I can't putting them together. It was so tough to watch.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Kylan. I do appreciate the fact that he went back and watched 10 seasons, the most recent 10 seasons. I'm like, okay, like I can respect that you did some homework here because, I'm assuming that a lot of people came on the show like, oh, cool opportunity, fun, Argentina, let's do it. And I like that he's at least coming to play. He wants to win. So did some homework.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Tiffany and Leo, that's a fun pair. Dom and Justine, Desi and Cinco, Sarah
Desi and Cinco, that's strong. And Desi was so gorgeous. Like I remember her always to be beautiful, but like she really sparkled this episode. I thought she was stunning.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Sarah and Enzo is a pretty decent pair. I mean, I thought that was fun. Giovanni and Sally, Derek, X and Cash.
Interesting.
Okay. James and Shannon, so Cache, Cashel is who we call Cash, right?
No, Cachet is who we call Cash.
Okay, great. I did that
Cashel,
right. Okay.
Cashel.
And then Cashel and Kira. Mm-hmm. And then Danny is stuck with Shan.
I mean, yeah. I thought that they were actually was pretty good in the end. But like I don't think have mended their fences from what he was saying about his wife and like not trusting her. And I don't think he should trust her necessarily.
No.
But keep your enemies close, sir. Right?
Right. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that you're like, I'm going to try to work with them to a point because I don't fully trust them, right? There's a lot of that.
So yeah, exactly. And I think I would rather, if I were him, be with her, because then she would never be plotting against him, right? If they're together, then like he can keep tabs on what she's doing. So I probably want to work with, maybe not.
I mean, I think they're a great pair if they can, get over past history, All right, this first challenge here, down to do the math.
How would you do in this one?
Oh, I would slay it. I would kill it. I love heights. I love rappelling, and I love math. Honestly, all of that.
I'm with you. I love all three.
Would be great. And so, as a person who's just like watching this for the first time, this is a solid Amazing Race type challenge. Like this is what they do on the race. And so I was like, great. Okay, here, give those three racers a,
leg up.
I don't know if it's a leg up, but it's like at least they get it.
Something that they're loosely familiar with, like the type of challenge. Yeah, and this is kind of a typical challenge. They make them go down, rappel down things. They make them walk between buildings. They make them jump onto cars that are like they do stuff like this. So it is.
But they do like mental things as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
The challenge. So the things like Casey, sometimes she didn't do well on the challenge is because she's not good at math. But so math comes into the challenge often. Puzzles come into the challenge often. And so some of the people that are like favorites or they come back often were like, why haven't you got better at puzzles or math? Like, there's going to be math equations and some that are harder than this. Same with Amber B, who you'd be familiar with. She's not good at math, and it's messed her up a few times in some challenges. So,
well, math isn't easy for everyone, and it's definitely not easy when you're going down a building. So it is interesting here to see sort of different approaches and how they do it. All right, this first round. First off, Kira was like 1, 2, 1, 2, and then doing math. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to mess her up. But turns out, no, just fine. They do just fine. It's poor sweet Azza and Kyland who cannot get their math right.
I can understand it being a little bit challenging. But I think what the issue is that Kyland is so sure of himself all the time that it's hard for if Azza did have the right answer or was questioning his answer, that he's like, would be like, no, this is right. No, this is right. And that he wasn't able to see that maybe he got something wrong. And so
that's a really good point. Amy, thank you so much for the super chat. Right? We're all giving it a chance. Nerdtainment's giving it a chance. Yeah, you got a good point. Because if you're going down, like you want to like try to do the math, but if your partner is like,
this is it,
saying the answer, so it's this, you're like, okay, great. And now we're going to add another number to it and we're just going to keep going. So yeah, if you have a mistake in there and you said it so confidently, you're not even sure where the mistake was by the time you're down at the bottom.
Maybe she didn't look at the equation part. She just trusted his assuredness that he's got this.
Right.
So a lesson learned to do one of those challenges. I think you both should attack each part of it and be like, come up and see if you guys both have the same answers as you go down. I think that would be the best way to do that. But you'd have to figure it out on the fly.
Right. You'd have to be like, shh, let's both do it and compare later, I guess. Be quiet.
Or at least like each step though, right? They had a few different like tiers. And so first tier, what's the answer there? I got 180. You got 180? Good. Okay, next tier. I got this. Okay, add them together. We get this. You know what I mean? Like talk it through together in some sort of way, just to check your answers.
Right. But you're racing. It's hard.
We're saying this from sitting on our couch.
Hello, chilling. Going back up those stairs seemed like the worst part. Seemed like the hardest part. Also, barely made it up those stairs to have to rappel down and start over again. That seemed like the worst. Poor thing.
I just was laughing because I think you were saying, like, I don't think Naza should be doing this. I'm worried for her. And like, first challenge, she's already like the only team that has to do this over again. Well, she didn't know she was going to be the only team, but look, at that point.
If you guys were not around for Big Brother last summer with me, I love Azah. And I admit that she was not great at Big Brother. And she definitely wasn't great at the challenges, the comps. So when I saw she was going to do the challenge, I was like, love, what are you doing?
This is not meant for you, I don't think.
I don't feel like this is your show. And I'm just going to have, chest pains watching her this season. Okay, well, they have to go up and do it again. They're going to eventually get it right. But then as we go through the rest of the teams, nobody else goes back up.
And people got fast.
They got
good. I mean, sometimes it is a big advantage to go later on because you can see what works, how to get a rhythm going. And so sometimes we suspect that the producers might put people that they would prefer to do better later on so that like they have a better opportunity to do better. So also, that could be something like producer hat. Keep an eye on who gets to watch the challenges on a regular basis. Because you think it's random, but I sometimes think that it's decided who's going to be going on later on.
Okay. James, did it feel random? As you guys were told when you're going on the comp? So some people got really, really fast here. They all had different numbers, right? Because at first I was like, I'd be cheating. I'd be like, what number did they put down? But apparently
they had different colors. So I think there was maybe 4 different colors that you had to follow your color. And I was thinking like, ooh, that could be tricky if you just choose the wrong color by accident and then you mess up that way. So I thought that somebody else might mess up to give Azah and Kylan a chance just by, I think it was Kayla maybe that said, oh, we're pink. But then it like highlighted another color. And I was like, does that mean that they're wrong or like what?
Right.
But I thought that somebody else might have messed up.
So
I didn't see it.
Okay. It was Shannon's birthday. And also James is psychic and knew that their number was going to be 220 before they even got it.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun fact.
Yeah. James, use that intuition. I bet you use it. You don't even realize it. So is there anyone you want to talk about here?
No, it
was clear who was getting really fast.
I love though Shan calling out when Tyson and Angela are going down. It's like Thor and Wonder Woman coming down, and like they're both so attractive with their long hair and like just really good in sync right off the bat. I like that comparison that Shan had for them.
Very, very true. All right. Well, they tell us that the top 3 were within like, what was it, 17 seconds, something super, super fast. But you could tell the winner was going to be Tyson and Angela. They like flew down.
They just looked so confident, which I really, really liked. And one thing I was also feeling is that both of them remind me of their partners. So like I was like in another universe, I could see them getting together and it working out, because I do find that Angela has a little bit of a vibe like Rachel. And then I also feel like Tyson has a little bit of like an older version of Tyler, a bit. And I think that Rachel is an fire sign. If I'm not mistaken, Angela is an Aries, Tyson's a Gemini, and Tyler is an Aquarius. So I'm just thinking like air and fire, maybe a duo.
They get it. Yeah. They understand each other. They vibe. Interesting. All right, they win $5,000, which is already enough to go to the final. Like, do they lose money? How does this work? Is everyone going to be available to go to the final?
Well, I think this also allows people to be a little bit of a bounty, right? Because we do learn more information at the end of the episode
Oh,
that
yeah.
if you beat somebody, you get to take their bank.
Yeah.
And there's always that running tab on how much money people have. So if you have to go down against somebody and it's between two people, you're probably going to want to take the person that has the most money. So it could put a bounty on their head.
I see. But there's no way to lose money and stay in the game, right? If you lose the money, you're probably leaving.
Correct.
Yeah,
I've never seen them do that before. I think usually when it's maybe if there's like a team steal, but this would have been like 15 years ago, they might have do something where you'd lose your bank account. I don't think that they'll do that here.
Okay, so we learn that Ozza and Kyland are obviously the last place, the slowest, and that they will go to elimination.
Now, this is something they don't always do that we always want. I always want, if you suck, you're going in, defend your position in the game.
Get there.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they have other mechanics, like the person that wins, they get to choose who goes down, and then the house chooses who goes in against them. Has been another style. Like there's been different ways that they've done how do people get into the elimination. But my favorite is this one. Go and defend your position because you sucked.
Yeah. I mean, it makes the most sense. If you come in last, do something.
Sometimes though, we've had it though, if you get your last, you get to call out. Is that how they did this one? No, yeah. They call out who they want. And so that's also can be really interesting because it's like, it's usually when though the winner of the challenge throws them in, then they get to call somebody out. So then there's another element of gameplay that could happen with like, oh, I don't want to throw them in because I know that they're going to call in so-and-so or so-and-so. But this is my favorite. It's the most dramatic, I find.
Right. Okay. So we know one team, one pair, but we now Tyson and Angela are told that they can pick the other pair to go up against Kyland and Ozza, which takes us into a room. Again, I just love the dramatics of the production here. We just like do a bunch of like slow-mo shots as we walk into a room. It's like a military movie almost. It's like, here we come.
They played up on this for the last 3 seasons of the main show, where it was Spies, Lies, and Allies was the most recent one. And then before that it was Double Agents. Like you are infiltrating things, like, you know, they're in the agency. Like they definitely like the dramatics and the thematics of like making moments. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, it sucked to be in, so it's working. But we're going to dramatically walk into a room that I was like, did someone name that? Like, I didn't hear anyone say deliberation room. They just like go into a room.
Sometimes they do name it. This time they did not name it. Sometimes whoever wins power has a name. It's been called like the agency, the troika, like depending on like what the mechanic of that particular season is. But this one, I don't think they named it, but a name might show up. Who knows?
The lounge. We're going into the lounge here, guys. So we've got the winners and the losers deliberating here up first. And they make it clear, you know, Tyson and Angela represent Survivor and Big Brother. They don't want to target Survivor or Big Brother up here at first. That leaves Love Island and Amazing Race. And right out the gate, Kyland's going to throw James's name out. Why? What's up about that?
I don't know. Because there's a lot of people that you could definitely been throwing in there that wasn't them.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. They really like wanted to make a thing out of Shannon not wanting to be there. I mean, they had already set us up that Shannon was emotional, kind of struggling to adjust to being there. And so they're making this seem like it is a story point.
But we also know that we always like find something, a reason to throw people in, right? And so I think this was an easy reason to throw somebody in. Wouldn't necessarily make that many enemies because like, well, sorry, it's your partner, but she doesn't really want to be here. Right. And so maybe she's not going to try that hard in the elimination. So like, you know, sorry that you got partnered with her. Like, I think that's kind of, they just want the least blood on their hands. It could be one of the reasons why they went that way.
Sure, I guess. And if it really was like a thing where it's like, oh, she clearly doesn't want to be here, I guess I get it. But I honestly was thinking at this point, I would target a Love Island pair.
I mean, I know I would have targeted Cashel and Kira 100%. Like that's where I would go. But maybe because Kira's tall, so because I do feel like the height thing definitely came into play in the elimination, and so the fact that Kira is about the same height as Azah, I think that maybe that could have been a little bit intimidating if we're going up against each other for something.
Right. At the end here, when Tyson and Angela are alone, we do see them sort of do like
solidify
final two-ish something. Yeah. Together to the end.
I love it. I was like, and they will be. I believe that they will be because they're both good players.
Yeah. If they can, however it mixes up moving forward, I think that they will be aligned still though, right?
And she probably got coaching from Casey. Like Casey isn't the most entertaining player, but she's really good at getting herself in a good alliances that protect her and allow her to get to the final every single season that she's been on. So she probably got some good advice as well.
Okay. Well, then apparently on this show afterwards, you get to go to the bar and hang out and party, which I loved the shots of the Survivor people being like, what is this? What do we do here?
This is definitely a staple of the challenge. Back in the day, they'd all be on this like mega bus and like people are making out and fights are happening. People are drunk and puking. Like it used to be a lot messier than it is right now. But definitely having per episode, there's usually a club scene. And my friend Fanta, like when we do our recaps, I'm like, okay, Fanta, club scene. And she does like the recap of the club scene part because like it's just usually dramatic and silly.
Well, it was amazing because Love Island is living their best lives. They're twerking on bars. They're just like, this is how you do reality TV. Whereas everyone else is like, no, that's not how we do reality TV.
We play to win.
Yeah, it was hilarious to watch. It really was.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I always enjoy that scene. And it was really interesting to see how all the shows are interacting with the format of the challenge. And so the strategic shows, they're all being strategic, and the people that aren't, they are doing what they did best, being entertaining.
They're like, this is when we drink and we have fun. Then we get James going to work, right? This is when James is like, well, I know, I see where this is headed. And I know what I have to do.
Cinco I thought was coming up with a bad strategy, so you could tell that he's from a love show. That's like, he's like, well, we should throw in the people that are strong so we could take out someone strong. And it's like, then next week it's you, Cinco. Like, you never want to throw, in my opinion, ever want to throw out a person that would have the same target that you could have, right? So if it's a winner season, you don't want to start going after the winners because then they're going to come after you. Like, you always want to make it somebody else that you're not part of that group. And so when he was suggesting to James, like, to throw in somebody that he thinks that they're going to throw in somebody strong, James is like, no, I think that
James is like, I'm going to do my own strategizing. Thank you, Cinco. Thank you for being here.
Good job.
But I'll think through this. And he does. And also, bonus, we get cute young James pictures. Adorable.
Oh, so cute.
Which so honestly worries me. When you show me baby pictures, I think, oh, this is their episode to leave. Okie dokie. That worries me.
It can be. That does happen a little bit what it usually foretells is who's going to be involved in the episode. So when you see like a package like that, or if they get a Skype call, they just get worried because they're either going home or they're going to be heavily involved in the episode. So that would have gave me a little antenna going off saying like, okay, he's probably going to be part of this episode.
Right. Well, what seemingly was the best move, I'm going to say, I guess I should just say my favorite move, is when I hear him sort of striking the fear that Shannon can beat Azah. Like, I think that's a really good point to make because everyone's saying we got to put some people up so that we can keep Kyland and Azza. So if you're like, well, but she can beat her, then you're like, oh crap, we got to find someone else to get rid of because, like we've already said, there's other people they could target.
Absolutely, and it's true. I do think that she's just a little bit stockier. She's obviously quite petite, but Ozzy is not stocky. Like, like I think she could be knocked down really easily, and I think that Shannon could come with some power, especially if she's a tumbler. Like, that means she knows how to run through things. And so if it was like a hall brawl with them two together, I'd be worried for dear old Ozzy. So that was definitely a good idea to put that fear in, 100%. And the other option being Selly, who's probably the smallest person on the season, who we could tell at the club scene isn't really there to strategize that much. And so potentially she would be a good person to go up against Azza because she's probably about 7 inches shorter than her. And probably 40 pounds lighter than her, and Azza's tiny. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So they leave us with that. We see, James making the rounds. He's sort of like pumping up Shannon. We got to go to work here. But then we move on to the challenge, not really knowing what the heck that means. And again, I just saw baby James' picture, so I'm thinking this is it. He's a goner. But now we're moving on to not so fast elimination.
How did you like this one? This is a staple. This is one that we
see
big
heavy
often.
rope. Oh, it looked awful.
Oh, I mean, it's awful, but it's good. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good one because, like, basically it shows like who has heart, but like there's some people that are really strategic with how they make those knots. Like they'll go up and down and like around and make really big knots and like just make it super difficult for them to get through and get it out. So if I were them, knowing how small Selly was, I would have just like started doing the rope things like near the top and make it that she'd have to go up and down to be able to unravel it. But yeah, it's exhausting, and just see like how heavy it is that they have to pull it, and it's
yeah. Okay, well, interesting to know this is a regular because I didn't even realize at first that you were messing it up for the other person or setting it up for the other person. So I was all sorts of confused. I was like, where is Kyland trying to take Azza? What is happening?
So you're supposed to.
This just seems exhausting.
Just make it as tangled as possible, and then you switch your carabiner and you unravel it and put it in the pile. Fastest person to do that obviously is going to win. And so once it sees it, it's probably on.
I do remember this or something similar on Survivor. Does ring a bell from the Survivor world. But before we get into it, that we learned that the winners of this are going to get the losers' money.
Nice.
Information we like. And then we hear from Angela that they have chosen Selly and Giovanni to go against Azza and Kyland.
And I was like, okay, some work has been done.
Work has been done. And this is exactly the strategy that I would have done. This is what I was thinking to Love Islanders. Easy peasy. Do it.
Of course, especially if they're not playing the game. Now, I would have maybe myself, if I was Angela and Tyson, been like, ooh, maybe I want to keep them in case I want to call out who I want, maybe. But I think that the fact that they kind of made a deal with James a little bit, like we see Tyson say like, okay, James, now you owe me one. I think that was more important than who that they were throwing in or who they were saving to maybe go up against later. I think the favor was more important. So that's why that went that way.
James says your other argument was putting a team of 2 shows, Love Island, Amazing Race, is a bad idea because Amazing Race could jump over to Love Island and that gives them more numbers. Yeah, great argument. Absolutely. Like somebody should already be pulling Amazing Race in, like we already said earlier. 3 100%. People, pull them into your group. Like don't target them. Maybe I'm just biased.
Well, they already got the short end of the stick with like only having 3 people representing their show. So I would have been like, ooh, let's have the Amazing Race be our adjacent Survivor crew or adjacent. Like I would definitely bring them in, being like worried that somebody else would scoop them up. Hundo.
Right. Okay. So these 2 teams are making messy knots. and then they're going to flip over and undo those knots. And Oz's eyelash is going to try to make a run for it.
That was the runner-up for MVP.
You're like, I don't even care. And I was like, you cannot care. Why did you put them on for this? Let's go.
Like,
jeez.
No, like eliminations is like a no makeup time.
No,
like
no eyelashes.
It's like the worst would happen is like your eye makeup, you're sweating and it gets in your eye and then it's burning. Then you get like, no, it's like bare face, 100%.
Giovanni and Sally, they don't make it to that little circle. Oz and Kylan do. They land.
Did you enjoy the heckling though that happened before when Asa and Kylan?
Yeah, I did. Honestly, like, you know, I don't know Giovanni, and I thought they were so fun. I mean, they clearly know what show they were on. They clearly know, like, hey, we're just having fun on reality TV, and I appreciate that vibe. If you're not going to give me strategy, at least, you know, be living your best life. And I did. I enjoyed the heckling. Yeah.
Me too. I did as well. And like just like the fact that they're just like standing there like super annoyed with the fact they're taking it so seriously. And they're just like
yeah, they were, you could see they were burning inside. And I do get joy from that as well. So thank you.
I wish though, well, not that I want Ozza to go, but I wish that they had won so that heckling didn't look like egg in the face, you know?
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, then that's it. Like they just kind of walk off. You're like, oh, they didn't win and they lost, and now they're a bye and they're out. So,
but we do learn a new game mechanic.
But then we get that twist.
Well, how do you like this one?
Oh, I mean, I love it. I guess I don't know. That's sure. True.
Well, I'm curious as like because I did want in the beginning to have these teams stick around for a little bit, but I love that they planned for a steamroll because usually they just allow these steamrolls to happen, and we saw that we're just like how is that fair that Love Island has so many people and you know Big Brother has so many people from the same season that just aired, and then you have the Amazing Race with 3 people. Like how is that fair? People are just going to get steamrolled and just be casualties. And so it breaks that up completely, and it doesn't allow people to be completely strategic in that way because depending on who you're paired with each time, you might have to negotiate who you're working with or who you're going to throw in if you get some power. So I thought it was great.
I have to sort of imagine I'm leaning that way because I mean, I love Tyson and Angela together. I love a few of these groups together, but it did feel so sort of random at the top when people were like, oh, just grabbing. And so for the people who were like, I don't know that I want to be with this person for the entire season, I was like, I feel like, let's mix it up a little bit.
But
and they seem terrified. They seem terrified because TJ's like, it's an algorithm. And they're like,
algorithm, like who do the producers want to put together in this round? Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, is Cachet and Cinco going to be partners this round? Let's see it. Thank you.
Mixing it up, however, making them terrified about who their partner is going to be. I love it. Yes.
So it is fun though. Like I want to see how the new matchups are and like see people's reactions. Like they're like when people get like David or something, they're just like, yay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, please, Kayla, get a new partner, please.
But what's also good is everybody's going to get to go with Tyson. And maybe this is why Tyson might be upset because he wasn't that favorable, it seems, to his experience on the challenge, saying that Survivor's challenges were more superior. And so I'm wondering if it's like not knowing the rules and stuff like that, or if it's like these game mechanics and twists that come in that doesn't allow you to completely game bot the system. So I'm wondering if this might have been one of the things that made Tyson a little sour because he saw his path to the end and now he doesn't know necessarily how he can get there for sure.
Right. Well, there's a lot of good players on the show. I mean, first off, there's a ton of people. It's like 28 people.
It's a lot of people.
And, you know, at least half of them are very good at their game, you know, really good players. So even though Tyson's one of the greatest, like there are other greatest on the show. So.
Well, and I think he thought that he had his ticket with like having the best partner already qualified for the finals. I think he even said, like, all I need to do is survive. And he's like, I'm good at that. So, like, that's what he just thought, that he had it easy. He was going to just, like, steamroll his way to the end. He has the numbers with the alliances. Like, he's qualified to run the final, like, best partner. So, probably going to be winning lots of dailies. No one's going to want to go against them. So, I think he just thought that he was set up to at least get to the final. And now he has to reconfigure his strategy.
Yeah, but I hope he lasts a while. Yeah, he'll be fun to watch. So I did get to talk to Giovanni and Selly this morning, and you guys can watch that. That is posted on Nerdtainment. But when I did ask them about, what did they do? Like, did they know that they were in danger? They were like, we did not know. We did not realize that.
Who else are they going to go for, though? There's not that many people that I would assume that they would go for, So,
yeah, their quote was something like, we thought we were good. It was that energy. And so
did they talk to them?
Did not talk to them. Selly said, I did have one conversation with Angela, but it was like, do what you got to do. It was that conversation.
Never the right. Because even when Ozza came in to talk to them, it's like, just like whatever is best for you. And I was like, no, Ozza, that's never the way to start, because that just gives them, they will do whatever's best for them.
You're giving them permission to give them a reason not to put you up. Yeah. That's always the goal when you have,
or like to give you what you want. Yeah. Like, make a deal. Don't be like, whatever you say, whatever you do, I'll be good with it. Like, no, I'm not going to be good with it unless it's agreed upon.
Right. Someone in the chat asked earlier if people were pre-gaming or talking before the show.
I believe so. I believe that Big Brother was doing some chatting, and anybody that knew each other or was going on the show, I think they're doing some chatting. And I do think that this algorithm is going to prevent maybe some of these things.
Try to break that up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Selly clearly said that she and Justine trained together for the show, so they obviously talked. I think there was definitely that kind of stuff going on. Both
Kira of them hangs out with them as well, so Kira might have also been training with them. Like, they hang out, party, and stuff like that together. So I'm sure Kira was involved with the workout.
They both mentioned that they trained physically for the show, but they obviously did not understand the strategy part of it. So
but I have to say, though, Selly was really good in the elimination. She was directing him where to go. She's a Gemini, so she is going to have like strategy and be able to like move things around. And so I think that if she had a little bit of height on her, she would have been able to keep up with Ozza, just from like climbing. She had to be propped up by Giovanni to get up to certain areas. And so if she was able to do that herself, they might have been a little bit faster. But I do think that she was decent at that challenge, but her height might have gotten in the way from doing a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, they honestly both looked like they were doing decent. I really couldn't tell that Kyland and Ozza were killing it, but
I don't think it was a kill.
Ultimately,
just a bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm hooked on this show. You guys, look where we are now.
Where's Jelly Donut? Is she here?
Right? She's here earlier. I know. I can't believe it. The time has come. Y'all been asking for it. And here we are.
Do you understand, though, with the appeal a little bit?
Absolutely. Of course, we're not deep into it where the drama has happened, which has always been my thing. Like, I'm not going to sit there and watch Josh get up into someone's face. Been there, done that. But the drama that I can see right now is all very acceptable game-related drama. Yes. So anything that happens, I feel like I'd be on board with.
Yeah.
At this point with this group.
I mean, the drama that's going to happen, it seems like people are going to be paired with people, but I kind of feel like your original partner, you're going to have some sort of allegiance to, and like maybe you're in power with somebody new and you can't protect them, but your original partners. Like, I think that might come up, like creating mini bonds each week and kind of like being sort of forced to protect certain people. And then when you can't, that I think some drama might happen as well with this format.
Right. So yeah, I can see the appeal, and I'm on board for at least this version.
So happy that you are watching the challenge with me. It
I'm
is
so
my
happy.
favorite.
Thank you for covering it with me because I gotta learn from you and get this insider info. So I really appreciate you recapping with me. Now we are not typically going to do this on Thursdays, you guys, because usually there's an eviction episode happening on Thursdays. I believe we decided on Saturday. Is that what we said?
Yes, Saturdays. Now I was
Did we
also
pick a time?
I don't think we picked a time, but I might want to
We'll,
chat about a time. But
we're gonna get back to you guys on that, but it'll be Saturdays moving forward.
yes.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were saying something else. So Saturday is starting next week, but I also get to talk to everyone as they're eliminated. So that happens on Thursdays. Keep an eye out for that. And then obviously we have Big Brother going on. Also, Amazing Race Canada is coming. It already started, and I'm going to try to recap that. I just am going to be a little late, but you've already started, right?
I did. Yes, the first episode. I can't wait to hear your reaction to the first episode. I'm excited.
Okay, is it worth me getting into the show?
At least the first episode.
Okay.
let me know after. Like if you don't, if you don't, I understand. There's not very many of us covering it, but obviously I have to because I'm always like, I've been there. Like it's just kind of fun seeing places that you've been.
I'm just a big Amazing Race lover, so I did Australia with James a couple of years ago, a year ago, whenever that was. So I want to do Canada. I want to do as many international ones as possible.
Do it. I'll watch for sure.
Yay! All right. Anything else you need to mention? Are you doing any?
Oh my God, I'm doing everything.
Updates or anything like that?
I'm doing a morning update next Tuesday. I'll be going live at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm like PM. 11 a.m. Eastern with Taryn, talking about the first Monday in the season. So I haven't watched any of the feeds today. I started listening to Taryn, but then I had stuff to do all day today. So I will get caught up, obviously, with what's going on in the house and get those feeds out. I've been hearing that there's some drama already. That stuff is going on. So I think there'll be stuff happening to discuss on Monday, or on Tuesday, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. I mean, I think we really have learned that week one can be a hot mess no matter what. And we miss it so many seasons. They don't show us feeds that first week. So remember that everything settles down after the first week. But yeah, it's already crazy in the house. And did you save anyone yet?
Oh, okay. I have to get my texting. Is it texting this time or
no? It's on the website.
Oh, okay. I'll do the website then. No, I would be saving Hypnotist. Come on now.
Yes. Guess what? Found out she's a Sagittarius today.
Oh, then love her even more.
All 10 of my votes went to Brittany. # save Brittany, y'all.
Well, I definitely don't want to save the other two from what I've been hearing about how they're coming from my girl Taylor. So
the whole house is coming for Taylor, to be honest. Taylor needs to do something. I don't know what, but she needs to do something.
I haven't watched yet. What is she doing? How she seems like she should be likable.
She's only talking to certain groups, and those groups are not there for her. So it's just not. Hopefully, she realizes.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Wait, no, we'll see. I believe we'll have noms tonight. So we will.
Fun.
We will, of course, let you guys know about spoilers when they happen. All right, you guys. Well, that's it for the challenge. Thank you for joining us live. Please stay tuned for whenever we figure this out on Saturdays. And follow Chantele, Reality Realness, Nerdtainment, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it. Like the video. Thank you. Comment. Let us know how you're feeling about the season, who you're rooting for, all of that stuff. All right. Bye.
Bye.